that's where Kristian Campbell is. He's back to Worcester, babe. See ya. Bye. Get your cab. Get your cab. What do you think? How do you think they flew him back from the West Coast? You think it was middle seat? What do you think?
JetBlue.
JetBlue? That feels too classy
JetBlue exit.
for the Red Sox.
JetBlue exit.
Raffy got a cab.
Raffy got a cab. What does the kid get? Middle seat?
Do you think he's going to drive his Bentley to Worcester?
It was probably a budget
I heard he's driving a Bentley.
Home Alone.
Yeah.
So you probably do you stay in Boston and commute back to Worcester? Like, are you driving by Fenway on the Pike? You think?
Yeah, you go stay there. You stay in Worcester.
Well, I know Jaron Duran had in that Sox doc was living in Waltham.
Yeah.
Because he was like, if I'm back and forth,
Is he crazy?
I'll be like in Waltham, which is close to the Pike.
Yeah.
Can hit the
Jump on,
Pike.
yeah.
I mean, what's your commute like, McCone?
35 minutes on a good day.
Right? But
Yeah.
then he can go the other way if he's playing at Fenway. It's kind of the in-between
I
game
got you.
he
I
plays.
got you.
Yeah.
I think he still might be living here.
They got a couple
I
of nice
I think he's
pop-up.
having breakfast downstairs.
I think he just likes it. I think he likes it here.
I saw him in a crapper.
Karen,
2 weeks
Waltham,
ago.
would you recommend it? No, Karen's out on Waltham. Waltham's own. Out.
That sales guy Alex, he's been thrown out of 4 apartments because they found him drunk, like laying out in the.
Who's this?
Alex. He hits all the bars in Waltham.
Oh no! He's got a lovely landlord. I heard. No. He does sleep on the front porch routinely. So almost to spit out his power.
He's usually in Boudreaux's basement.
Yeah, he sleeps on the front porch from time to time because he can't find his keys.
It's creepy.
But no. He's totally
been known
fine.
to frequent
But-
many a gutter.
But he's, for the most part, quiet as a mouse. He's never a disturbance.
You'll
and
know
so
he's
it's
there.
all
Yeah.
good.
You should see these pictures Boudreaux sent. Oh, God. Of him asleep down and Kate passed out.
Oh, jeez. So Campbell gets sent down. What does it tell you about the Red Sox and where they're at?
That they, I don't want to say have ruined him, but I think they handled, since those first 2 weeks, my God, the kid hung the moon, right? Like, I remember making fun of the play-by-play doing the shows. Jesus, it's like, holy crap, look at this kid. Look how he's running. What a superstar. And then he got the contract. And then you moved him different positions, and he never got comfortable. And maybe you could blame that on whoever you want, whether it's injuries, whether it's Devers not going here or there, forcing the kid to maybe do some other things to try and find the spot that sticks for him. But I just think moving him around too much messed with his head, and it's affected him at the plate.
I'm with you. I don't think he's ruined.
I don't think
that's
he's
what's
ruined
going
at all.
on. I think it's a guy
He's got to
who's
settle down.
who's clearly in need of getting a tune-up, right? He needs a tune-up. He needs to go back down, build some confidence, get some regularity in where he's playing. And I think that's a big part of the equation with him. They've had him all over the place, which is not helpful to a young player. They even went so far as to have him trying out first base in his spare time, which is stupid. We said that at the time. And they also gave him the contract, which no one's ever going to turn down, but there definitely is a mental aspect to giving the player the contract and then having that press conference, which we played off the top.
The press, yeah.
Right? I mean, just listen to Breslow telling everybody how smart they are.
Here we are today, sharing what I would call a massively significant moment for this organization, because Kristian was not drafted in the first round. He wasn't a top prospect upon entering the organization. What he was a good player who made himself a great player because of his work ethic and diligence and open-mindedness and attitude. And so in many ways, he is a prime example of what's possible when great scouting meets great development.
Oh, it's so pathetic. Oh, we're so amazing. And this moment is such a huge one for the organization and the franchise. Yeah, it turns out it wasn't. It really wasn't that big of a deal. He was just a young player who was good, and you're trying to get him on the cheap. Because you thought he was going to be excellent. And in the start, he was.
Yeah.
Didn't last, though.
I thought this at the time, too, when I watched that press conference with Campbell sitting next to him. He kind of was just sitting there not saying much. Like, he's like, wow, what, they calling me great? Like, already? Like, am I there?
I don't think he's ready.
I think when you look at the entire situation, the biggest thing that you get upset about and frustrated about is the fact that you forced Devers into the DH position, went back on your plan of Alex Bregman at second base, whether you actually ever were into the idea, because we know before camp they wanted Campbell to win the job. I don't think Campbell's going down simply for the offensive struggles. I think the offensive struggles are part of it. He had a 900 OPS in the first month of the season. Now he's about 13% below league average as a bat. but it's the defense. He's the worst defender arguably in the sport right now. -8 outs above average. You've seen over the last 10 days David Hamilton coming in late in games for him and replacing him. The whole reason they had Campbell at DH to start this past series. They know with the margins of this team where the offense is at, they need to play good defense to survive. With more rookies in the lineup, think about it. Even when Bregman comes back, they were getting Marcelo Meyer ready to play second base before all this happened. Before Bregman went down, Meyer's going to move to second base when Bregman's ready. I think you go down to AAA now, you know Campbell's not a very good second baseman. The first base convo should start again, because if you want him back up here and contributing, that's probably the clearest path, because Trevor Story is on this team for another 2 years. Where are you going to fit him in?
So you're bringing up that next question. How long do you think he stays there? And I think it's going to be for a bit. I don't think he's coming back soon.
Yeah, at this point,
make sure he gets
for
right.
sure.
Yeah.
But you know what? Isn't it another example of like contract over development? Cotillo had it in Mass Live. You played 137 minor league games, played 18 in Worcester. You knew you were going to sign the extension, so you rushed him up to the major league. Didn't have a good spring, by the way. Meanwhile, you look at Roman Anthony killing it in AAA, and you manipulated that service because you didn't want that. You wanted that extra year of service time as well.
If Roman Anthony was willing to sign a contract back in April, would he have been called up too?
Right. And so the way that you're manipulating these guys and the way that you're calling them up or the way that they're playing at the major league level has nothing to do with their development. It's can we win the deal and can we win the contract, which is incredibly frustrating.
The entire team is incredibly frustrating, and how they run the thing is very frustrating. 617-779-0985. A successful major league manager is questioning Alex Cora and the job he did with Rafi Devers. Someone wants to know why it is Alex Cora didn't fix the issue himself. And, of course, the Red Sox getting set to face Rafi Devers this weekend. That is all coming up. We'll talk about it on this Finish Strong Friday with your thoughts after Kristian Campbell gets sent down to Worcester and Craig Breslow has egg on his face again. Get used to that. That's going to be the norm with this guy. Wondering why Alex Cora didn't just handle this from the beginning and wondering why they were so late to handle it, period. Joe Madden second-guessing how the Red Sox dealt with Devers, which is an easy second guess.
I mean, he's right. It's like he middled it, you know?
So I guess Joe Madden might be more critical there of the front office than he is Cora, but he wants to know why Cora didn't just handle this.
None of the executalk.
Exactly. You want Devers to be talking about alignment and stuff, and just the way. Could you imagine the way Breslow talks and how he would talk to him? You know, and then through the interpreter, like, what are you talking about, dude?
Because Cora was just as guilty as everyone because he wanted his lieutenant here. He wanted his guy, and he was right in the middle.
He's got to know that, though.
But no, that's what I'm saying. That's why the blame's there.
You've been
not
manager
taking
for
care
years.
of both sides, more caring just to get your guy here and not take care of the guy who had been here for 7 years.
Yeah, I think that's what Madden's saying, right? Which is, if Cora had any balls, he would just go to Devers in the offseason, hey, Rafi, listen, I want Devers here. We're going to try to get I want Bregman here. We're trying to get Bregman. I don't know if it's going to happen. But if he lands here, we're going to have to talk about where you move because this guy's going to come in and play third base. And if Devers flips out, then he flips out. Guess what happened the way they did handle it? He flipped out.
Yep.
So at least you could say, I tried, and I told him, and I was completely honest and transparent with him, and he was pissed. But guess what the end result was doing it the other way? The player was pissed, and you traded him in June. So you had nothing to lose. You had nothing to lose. And they didn't go about it that way. He was really mad at me. Well, he was really mad at you in the end anyway.
You should know that, too. Being the manager and being around the player, that's like your best player. You should know how he's going to react to things. So you should have the ability, as a manager of managing players, make sure you could blend that, you know, and ease him into it instead of picking sides. He's probably in there railing on Breslow to him, and that's why he's like, you know what? The CBO should go do his job better. Like, that was Devers' reaction. Just threw him under the bus. So that's on Cora, too.
I think that's why you haven't heard much from Cora after this trade went down, even leaking out or things, you know, really going at Breslow and complaining about him from the managerial side, because he knows the spotlight quickly goes on him as well. There's nowhere to run, and Buster Olney's piece on it was great, just highlighting, like, that is your biggest strength, Alex Cora, is supposed to be that you're a player's manager, that you're on the same page as your guys, you get everyone moving in one direction. You couldn't get the franchise player with the biggest contract moving in the right direction for a team going, you know, and you got him at DH, right? You're able to find that, but you weren't able to make all of this work throughout the offseason. You created all this drama because you couldn't get through to Rafael Devers.